How's everybody? Goodness gracious. Thanks for coming out. We got to take care of some business. Listen, the other side gave us a really bad budget. It's backwards. It's taken us backwards. They're trying to raise taxes, and we're just not going to let that happen. We are not going backwards. We are going forward. So I'm going to share a lot more about it, but the whole theme today is forwards, not backwards. That's what we're doing. So I'm going to hand it over to my friend Jay Leftwich, and he's going to go ahead and set the table for us. Jay, over to you. Thanks for all the great work you do on behalf of everybody here.
So I have a couple of tasks to take care of before we get to the meat of the situation. But I want you to notice the governor's wearing two bands. One is American. Yeah. One's a Live Strong. Yeah. It's America. All right, first I want to recognize our special guest. We have Congressman Jim Kiggins. Thank you for being here. Christie New Craig, he'll give some remarks in 2 minutes. Our newest addition to the General Assembly, Delegate Baxter Ennis, up here in the front row. Our treasurer, who's doing an outstanding job. I wish you had time to hear from him today about all the good things he's doing. Ben White. We have our mayor, Rick West, who's running for re-election. We have some council members here who do it. And I'm going to take a minute. Golf. Look around the Commonwealth and which cities are run by Republicans and which ones are run by Democrats. Chesapeake's a great place to live. Amanda Newens. Debbie Ritter. Daniel Whitaker. From our school board, we have Sam Boone and Norman Poole. Okay, did I miss anyone? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Okay. That's always a tough task. And so there are two more things I want to do. One is I want to give a few comments about the budget. As you notice, there's a theme today. It's backward budget. And this is just, a snapshot of how backward it is. The governor sent down a budget that would have kept people's taxes somewhat neutral. The Democrats took every increase, but took out all the cuts. That's the first backward piece of it. They killed an arena deal, which, if you look at the nuts and bolts of it, and it's been described to me as the best deal ever cut in the U.S. for an arena, the risk to the Commonwealth is very, very little. The Capitals and the Wizards could fold and go away, and the NBA and NHL are still on the hook for the payments. Positive cash flow almost from the get-go. All that money that could have been brought in for that deal could have funded these things that we, the citizens of Virginia, want, but instead they play politics with that and increase taxes on working people like you to the tune of $2.6 billion over the next biennium. All right, so if that's not backwards and that's not enough to get you moving on this, I don't know what is. So it's rare for the governor to come to our caucus. He's accessible to all of us. We need him. We just reach out and he's there. But it's somewhat rare for him to come to our caucus and give a speech. And so the Thursday or Friday before we adjourned, he visited both the House Republican caucus and the Senate Republican caucus. And he said, this budget is, can I hear you, backwards? He said, I'm going to go out throughout the Commonwealth like when I ran for governor and tell the citizens of Virginia how bad this is. I don't remember a governor campaigning like that, and I wouldn't even call it campaigning. It's just an informational tour, like they ran for governor over a budget or anything like this. And so I want to thank him for being so forward-facing on this and proactive. And he said, I'm going to do a tour of Virginia and tell the citizens about this. And what? Less than a week later, he's in Chesapeake. Thank you, Governor. A man of action. Okay. The last thing I want to do is introduce my colleague and friend, former school board member, mate, Christie New Craig. Christie walked for me the first time I ran for school board in 2000. She has always been in the trenches. She's always been here for Chesapeake. Now she's here for Virginia. When Senator Cosgrove retired, we had a conversation, and I said, Christie, that's your seat. You'll do a fabulous job. I'm behind you 100%. She took it, won a tough nomination contest, won the general, and she's done an outstanding job representing you in Richmond. Christie?
Thank you. Well, good afternoon and welcome to Chesapeake.
Here we go.
Thank you. I'm just going to.
I forgot the host.
Oh, okay. So first, we're going to get down to a little bit more business. We're going to thank Amber Chafin and Giselle, the mother and the daughter of this Well, again, I'm Christie New Craig, and I'm honored to be here. I have 3 words for you. Elections have consequences. Remember that. Remember that for 2024 and on. Unfortunately, the budget passed the Senate 24-16, but I'm proud to say I voted against that budget. There are some bad things in the budget. There's a $2.6 billion tax increase, like Delegate Leftwich said, and they also have us rejoining Reggie in both budgets, House Bill 29 and 30, to a tune of $600 million increase in your energy taxes. Public safety, which everyone knows is near and dear to me, was hit with $18 million reduction in law enforcement recruitment. It slashed $10 million for school resource officers to keep our kids safe. The Democrats don't want to keep our kids safe. Let's remember that. And then what really hit me hard was language in the budget that had 8,300 inmates that will get their sentence reduced. But wait, there's more. 99.6% of those were convicted of violent crimes such as murder, rape, and sex offenses. They want to let them free. So I'm proud and honored to have a Republican governor who has veto power. We got to keep that hand in good shape. I look forward to returning back to Richmond on April 17th for the reconvene session. I will promise you, I will keep fighting, not only for the people of the 19th District, but for the people of the Commonwealth of Virginia. So, it is my distinct honor and privilege to introduce to you the 74th Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, the backwards budget Governor, Glenn Youngkin.
Thank you. Thank you. Amazing. That's your t-shirt. Hey, thanks everybody. Thanks again for coming out. And the whole purpose of today is to make sure that all of you understand that what so many of the other side representatives do in Richmond is try to do things and not tell you about it. They don't want anybody to know. And the reality is, as you've just heard, this budget is not just backwards, but it literally undermines the tenets to the success that we have had over the last 2 years. And I just want to take you back in time when you all were gracious enough to hire me, and we went to work in January 2022. Virginia was bottom third in job growth. We, in fact, had a 20-year high in murder rate. We were 47th in the nation in getting our schools back open. Small businesses were closing left and right, and I know Giselle and Amber know that because you were struggling. And the reality was Virginia was getting left behind, and people were leaving in droves. In fact, not just more people moving away to the other 49 states than moving here, but they had done it for 9 straight years. People were leaving in droves. And so we went to work, and there's a very basic, fundamental series of actions. Number 1, you keep more of your hard-earned money in your pocket. That's what it's all about. We worked on a bipartisan basis, and we had $5 billion of tax relief the last 2 years. I'm going to say it again, $5 billion of tax relief. And I have to say I'm proud of all of it, but I have to say that when we were able to provide our heroes, our veterans, relief on their retirement up to $40,000, no taxes, stay here, it's a huge building block. We coupled with that record invested in education, record investment in law enforcement, record investments in behavioral health. Government's been running so much better. In fact, I don't know if you saw today, but we just exceeded all the national standards on processing claims at the Employment Commission. The mess I got left and the mess we have cleaned up has turned out to be one of the most efficient employment agencies in America. We can do this and it works. And how do we know it works? Is because now there's 200,000 more people working in Virginia than there were 2 years ago. We've gone from near the bottom to near the top. We have the largest labor force in the history of the Commonwealth. More people working than ever. And we've just hit a 12-year high in labor participation. So all those people who've disappeared from working during the pandemic, we have them back plus more. It works. Our schools are working for our kids. Our neighborhoods have more law enforcement heroes on the streets, and it works. And how I know it works? In Petersburg, Virginia, 18 months ago, I went to work with the law enforcement heroes there. And Sheriff Christian told me they had 25% vacancies and they couldn't keep anybody on the police department force. 18 months later, I think they have one vacancy. They may have zero coming out of this last training class. Violent crime's down 33%. More badges on the street. Works. It just flat works. So that's my moment to say thank you to the badges. And I want to thank you for being a hero for everybody here. Bless you. Guys back there, thank you. It works. So here we have, in 60 days of the Democrats having a one-seat majority in the House and a one-seat majority in the Senate, what do in 60 days? They want to take it all backwards. That's what they want to do. $2.6 billion of tax increases, and they came up with that in 60 days. Now let me just say a little bit about these tax increases. Number one is, I don't think there's ever been a moment where the Democrats haven't been pressing for tax increases. And yet when we worked together on a bipartisan basis, because they had to, we found $5 billion of tax relief. Well, now we see $2 billion of tax relief, tax increases on everyday things that everyday Virginians have to buy. And the worst is it's a sales tax increase. And so it hits those Virginians who can afford it the least, the most. Tax experts call that regressive. It taxes more for people who can afford it least. And then they want to take away the benefit that we provided by removing the Reggie tax, or basically the carbon tax, off of everybody's electric bill. And we've gone to work in order to bring electric prices down the last 2 years. And lo and behold, in 60 days, they want to put $600 million of taxes back on your electricity bill. This is what they're up to. Folks, we just can't let this happen. And so we're not. We're going to work across the Commonwealth first to make sure that all Virginians understand that we are not going backwards, we're going forwards. And this governor and all of my colleagues in the General Assembly are going to stand strong, and we're saying no to tax increases. No! But it doesn't stop there. They're going backwards on economic development. And as Delegate Leftwich said, every time we talk about economic development, they think, it must generate more jobs. I don't want more jobs, I want more taxes. It seems what they say all the time. But we have the single best economic development project in the history of the Commonwealth to bring 2 sports teams to Alexandria, Virginia, and the proceeds from that initiative fund projects all over the Commonwealth. Literally. Transportation, teacher salaries. Yes, some toll relief for a particular senator in Portsmouth. It can fund it all. It can fund it for the next 35 years. And yet, at the end of the day, when we have the single best economic development project, 30,000 jobs, $12 billion in economic contribution, no upfront money from the Commonwealth, no new taxes, and we win when they win, they say no. And they say no, not because of the merit of the opportunity, but because they're playing politics. And how do I know that? Because the House, which again has a one-seat majority for the Democrats, did their work. They hired outside advisors. They confirmed all the assumptions, and guess what? The House passed the bill to go forward with this economic development project. The Senate didn't do their work. They refused to pick up the bill. And this good senator knows they refused to even talk about it, notwithstanding the Republicans saying we should hold hearings, we should have committees, and we should vote on it. Because they knew if it got to the floor, then it would be voted for and through. And as a result, Virginia is hurting from an economic development standpoint. What do they do again in this budget? They take away funding for new sites. One of the big things we've done over the last 2 years is invest in shovel-ready sites in order to make sure that when companies come, they have a place to go. They took the funding away for shovel-ready sites. The key to the future of the Commonwealth is not new taxes, it's new jobs. That's what we're going to build. And then this last step of safe communities is so clear. And of course, as we've pressed forward with more investment in law enforcement, funds to recruit more, funds to put our school resource officers in every school, they take them away. They take away funds to recruit new law enforcement heroes. They take away funds to actually support school resource officers. Folks, the reality is we know the formula. The formula is low taxes, more jobs, great education, safe communities, investment in our behavioral health system, and making sure government works. And it translates into a thriving Virginia, and they want to go backwards. We're not going to let it happen. So here's what's got to happen over the course of the next now 21 days. And to put things in context, not only do we have a budget we have to deal with, they sent over 1,000 bills that I'm reviewing over the course of this now 21 days. And just to put things in context, these bills do everything that I hope they wouldn't do. And that's why I believe that my veto pen will be incredibly active during this 21 days. But we also have to get the budget right. And so I get to line item veto out a number of things I don't like new taxes. And yet the reality is, what the other side wants you to believe is that we live in this world of either or. We either are going to raise taxes or we have to reduce spending on all these things. Well, folks, what's happened because of the job growth in the Commonwealth of Virginia, what's happened because of the economic prosperity of the last 2 years, we have plenty of money. We have plenty of money in the system to not raise taxes, yes, to pay teachers fairly, yes, to invest in education, yes, to compensate our law enforcement heroes, yes, to invest in behavioral health, yes. It is not an either-or moment, and you've all heard me saying this for nearly 3 years. Don't listen to the scare tactics. We do not need to raise taxes, and we can still invest in these top priorities, and that's exactly what we have done for the last 2 years. $5 billion of tax relief, record education budgets. We've gotten teacher pay back up to where it should be, record law enforcement budgets, record behavioral health investing, record investment in economic development. Folks, we can do this. So what do I need you to do? First thing I need you to do is recognize that there are two visions for the Commonwealth of Virginia. There's a vision that I just described, a vision that really is completely founded in the basic truths that jobs are a good thing, that in fact prosperity comes from those amazing 3 words, which are the second most important 3 words in the English language. Number one, the first most important 3 words in English language are I love you. But the second are you are hired. Folks, more jobs unleashes not only the dignity of the human spirit, but also prosperity. And we know that when we have this rip-roaring economy, growing jobs, we know that we have great education and safe communities, the Commonwealth thrives. Their vision for the Commonwealth is to tax everything they possibly can, to in fact squelch economic development opportunities so that people are more dependent. And we're not going there. The individual liberties and freedoms that fundamentally are derived from those 3 words, you are hired, unleash the human spirit, unleash prosperity, and unleash the spirit of Virginia. And that's what we are driving for. And so step number 1 for us is to recognize I am going to continue to fight for us to be on a vision for Virginia that is totally based on serving you and helping Virginians unleash their future. Second of all, I need you to go to work. You don't need to call and write these 2. You don't need to call and write Baxter. But I need you to call and write everybody else. There's 137 other delegates and senators that need to hear from you. No new taxes. That's the message. No new taxes. Texts and emails. Let them hear from you. Second of all, tell your friends. Tell your friends, because when we stand up as a Commonwealth and draw very, very clear lines, it forces us to go do the work. And then finally, pray for us here as we go into this battle, because this is what we're doing. Folks, I got a veto pen. I got to put it to work. What I really want to happen is I want to go negotiate a much better budget. I'll do what I need to do, but there's a chance here for us to get this done. No new taxes, great investment in education, law enforcement, behavioral health, and economic development, but we got to go to work and get it done. So that's what I need from you. That's what I need from you. First, we're going to go on the righteous path for the Commonwealth. Second of all, you're going to let those General Assembly members know no new taxes. And finally, you're going to work for us and praying for us because we got work to do. Okay, so with that, who's with us? Who's with us? No new taxes. Come on, no new taxes. We're going to fix the backward budget, get it fixed, and Virginia is going to soar. It's going to soar. Thank you for coming out. Everybody order a burger. Everybody get a burger. And let's hear it for Hot Roddy!